for made in Montana food products? Look no further than Town & Country Foods of Dillon. Even Santa's finding the construction a little confusing and a little difficult to get around, but that's not stopping Emporium 406 from having Christmas in July. Come on down to 34 North Idaho Street. Check out all the great Christmas items we'll have available for you in July.
Plan now to attend the 3rd Annual Dillon History Days, July 22nd through 24th in Dillon, Montana. This year, we'll be showcasing the years 1880 through 1899. Fun for the whole family, including vendors, live music, historic plays, living history, a barbecue cook-off, a horsepower roundup show, and much more. Brought to you by the Dillon, Montana Community Foundation. See you in Dillon, July 22nd through the 24th.
Looking for made in Montana food products? Look no further than Town & Country Foods of Dillon. Even Santa's finding the construction a little confusing and a little difficult to get around, but that's not stopping Emporium 406 from having Christmas in July. Come on down to 34 North Idaho Street. Check out all the great Christmas items we'll have available for you in July.
Public hearing back to order for the consideration of an amendment to the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. Any public comment, since we have new people coming in? Second call for any public comments on the amendment to the 2021-2022 budget. Third call for any comments. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Consider the amendment budget for the fiscal year 2021-2022 closed. It is about 30 seconds to 7 o'clock. We will get our regular city council meeting started. Call to order. Let's first of all pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first order of business, approve June 15, 2022 regular council meeting minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Been moved by Russ, seconded by Dan.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of questions or an addition to, it would be number 8B. And I'll start with, in here it's quoted as saying, I think it's ascribed to you, Mayor, that the insurance company would no longer be covering the bridge. And that statement was ascribed to you, Mayor. Did we get a letter or a report from our insurance company saying that they would not cover the bridge? Or how is that?
That's general policy. If you go against the safety regulations, they won't cover you then. You've been notified of a problem, if it isn't addressed, they drop coverage on it.
Okay, great. I guess I would like listed in here the sentence that says, Councilwoman O'Rourke asked, number 1, whom by name reported that the bridge is an imminent hazard? And number 2, what are the qualifications of the person or persons who have reported that the bridge is an imminent hazard? And 3, where is the written report, or when can we expect the written report?
I don't think you can change the minutes.
Well, those are the things that I asked for. Those are I listened to the tape, and those are the things I asked for. Those are the questions I asked. And so I would like the minutes to be corrected to include those 3 questions.
Once again, the minutes are not verbatim. You need to realize that. So if you want to go verbatim, you have to go back to the tapes.
I have gone back to the tapes. Those were the 3 things I asked for. I asked who reported that the bridge was a hazard. That's a quote. 2, and I said, what are the qualifications of these people? You were the one who, Mr. Hand, you said, Mary Jo, it was your neighbor, Cliff Stout. I went home and called Cliff, and he said, no, that he did not. He thought he'd made that clear to you, that he did not want to be listed as a person who gave some kind of opinion as to the safety of that bridge. And boy, they brought over a written thing for the city if their names are going to be used. They do not want their names used, and they did not give that opinion.
I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah.
I would put my engineering certificate on the line for that.
So those are the 3 things that I Those are the 3 questions I asked. I would like the minutes corrected to include those 3 questions. I also, in that discussion at the very time, asked you, Mr. Hand, when could we expect the written report? You noted that in order to have a written report, to get a written engineering evaluation would be between $50,000 and $60,000. I have updated that information, and it would be, I got it from a licensed engineer, that it would probably be more in tune with $5,000 to $6,000. So I don't know if we want to correct those minutes, but that was just information that you gave that was incorrect.
It depends on the engineer you talk to. Once again, these are not verbatim notes. So putting your quotes in verbatim is not appropriate. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
I would like the minutes corrected to include the 3 questions I asked. And that was, who reported that the bridge is a hazard? Number 2, what are the qualifications of this person or persons? And number 3, where is the written report? We closed a bridge. I think those are the 3 questions. Those are the 3 big questions we should ask.
Is that a motion?
Yes. Do we need a motion for that?
I would think so, yes.
Then I move that number 8B be corrected by adding Councilwoman O'Rourke asked, number 1, who reported that the bridge is a hazard? And my language skills here are terrible, but I am taking it from the tape. 2, what are the qualifications of this person or persons? And 3, where is the written report?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, there's a motion to have Councilperson O'Rourke's 3 questions added to the minutes, been seconded by Councilperson Johnston. All in favor of adding 3 questions to the minutes, say aye.
Discuss this for a minute.
What's that?
Discussion?
Discussion, okay. Let's have a discussion then.
I'm sorry, I don't have any objections to her putting the, but I would like, if she's going to put them in there, I would like to be sent back to whoever wrote the minutes and actually listen to the tape to put exactly how she said it in there or whatever, you know. And then I don't know if it really needs to be word for word again, it's like Donkey's, it's a synopsis, so maybe just a simple, Mary Jo, councilperson O'Rourke asked 3 questions on.
Well, I would like the 3 questions.
Right. Well, and what the 3 questions are, but I mean, it don't have to be word for word for word.
Well, and I asked them 2 or 3 different times in the midst of the discussion, so we can get some bad language and really bad language, grammar-wise.
But I think it needs to be from the tape, not just from our memories.
So in that case, we're going to send this back for editing by the secretary. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't like editing either.
Well, my motion on the table, though, is the 3 questions.
That's the way we get them in.
And then will we be adding in the responses to those 3 questions as well, verbatim?
Sure.
No, that would not be appropriate. They were not presented at the meeting. So the edit that you're doing it after the fact, that's not appropriate.
I wasn't asking for that, but it's perfectly fine if you'd like to put it in.
I think just, if she wants the questions in there, I don't see where it's gonna hurt, but again, I think it ought to come from the tape, not from our memory. Just be all simple and, I don't know, I mean, again, these really aren't supposed to be verbatim, it's just for.
It says that, council persons overworked believes proper procedure wasn't followed, which means you asked the 3 questions, that's kind of summing up, you asked the 3 questions, I would say, it wasn't followed.
No,
That you
Mayor,
believe.
Mayor, my procedural problems were that within there are 2 different places. One of them is in statute and one of them is in our operating procedures. When the city wants to give up a piece of land, there's a procedure that you go
Point
through.
of order, we are not here to discuss, that we're here to discuss whether or not you get the 3 minutes. We're not here to rediscuss the bridge and all the contents. You made a motion to put the 3 questions in the thing, and like I said, I agree with that, but I think it needs to come from the minutes, or from the tape, how it is. But we're not here to rehash everything else we said.
That's fine.
So is someone going to amend the motion? Call for the question.
Okay, the question?
Actually, I do have another correction, because under public comment, item F, it shows Mayor Clacken rather than Mayor McGinley.
Okay. There's been a motion to send this back to the secretary to add more language to item B on the Normal Street Bridge and correct F. All in favor?
There's several other errors need to be corrected too
Okay.
in here. Under item 10, tree board, Mary Jo O'Rourke, I don't believe that the tree board meets formally.
I believe, formally.
Yes, that's what I believe it's supposed to be.
Good catch, Mr. Ham.
Everybody see what that one was? And then also at the bottom of the page on item 8, it says Councilperson Russ. I believe that should be Councilperson Schwann, please. I know, but for forensic reasons, we need a Councilperson Schwann. That was all that I noticed. You jumped up at me.
Mr. Ham, there's still one more we've left for you.
Go for it.
Oh, it was for you. It would be on... Where did I say this one? Oh, here it is. It would be the second sentence under 8B. It says, Councilperson Johnson. I don't know who that person is.
Oh, that's what it was, yeah.
So we simply add a T.
Right.
And we'll make it correct.
Apologies, it's been a bit busy.
There's been a motion and seconded to send it back for the Normal Bridge, add 3 questions, and then correct the other mistakes. All in favor of sending it back?
Point of order.
Yes.
You only have 3 questions, sir. I called for the question. You're going to vote on accepting those 3 questions.
Okay.
Then you get a motion to send it back.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's vote to add the 3 questions to the Normal Street Bridge. All in favor of adding the 3 questions? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Do a roll call vote. Councilperson Hand.
Me.
Councilperson Armstrong.
Nay.
Councilperson Swan.
Nay.
Councilperson Dan? What's your last name?
May.
Councilperson Brandon.
Aye.
Councilperson Graham.
Aye.
Councilperson Johnston.
Aye.
Councilperson O'Rourke.
Aye.
Okay, it's a 4-4 tie. Then I say nay.
I move to submit the minutes of June 15th for readmittance.
Okay. Second. Okay, we have a motion by Swamp and seconded by Graham to send it back for remittance. All in favor?
Nay.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Passes, sounds like 7-1.
It goes to
2, okay, 6-2. Going to go back for remittance. And they'll come back next meeting to get approved. Okay, next item on approve the June 24th, 2022 special council meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by Swant and seconded by Armstrong. Any discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to accept the June 20, special meeting of the June 24th, 2022 council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, petitions and communications. I included this, it went to the judiciary branch or committee. That's resolution 1175. It came to my attention when Councilperson Hand asked me to look for posting, make sure everything was posted, and this, we searched everything we had. This is just interesting that a lot of people come to me and ask me if we're going to have a council or a committee meeting. If you read this, it says the chairman's going to put the agendas together and give it to me. So, from now on, if you're a chairman of a committee, it says 48 hours, but if you want us to type it up and stuff, you need a little bit more time because it has to be posted 48 hours in advance. So,
Mr. Mayor, I have the original of this, and that was signed by Mayor Clacken and Jenny Olson back on the 20th of August in 2014. And this is an exact duplicate of that, including on the second page, Mike Clacken as mayor. And, but I think it was probably 6 or 7 months ago, I read a thing from the League of Cities and Towns that talked about what is good policy. And it was a highfalutin type thing, but in the end, what it said was, a good policy is what really happens. How it happens, when it happens, and who's responsible for it. I look at this, and this resolution is, if we even under number 1 on the second or on the third line, under number 1, it would say, that sentence would say, prepared by the chairperson, and then if we just added the 3 words, and staff liaison.
We don't
That
have
sentence,
exactly
well, that sentence would say that a detailed agenda for all city council meetings is be prepared by the administration, period. A detailed meeting agenda for all city committees, commissions, and boards is to be prepared by the chairperson and staff liaison of each committee, period. And that is what really happens. Dawn, do you physically prepare the agenda for the planning board?
No.
I
But
don't-
we don't have a staff liaison either.
Okay, more or less, I just brought this to your attention, it's a resolution in the book. And if it goes back to my thing, we're supposed to enforce the resolution. So if you want to change this, it needs to go back to a committee to get changed.
I thought judicial was already doing that.
They looked at it and they said it was good as written, so we'd have to go back and want to change
And
things.
that was unanimous too. So I don't know why it's being brought up
Yep,
now.
I just want to bring it up that, just to inform the chair people to get me what you want to talk about in your committees.
Okay.
So because if you're the legislature, you decide what you should be talking about, I'm the executor. So I don't mind putting them together, but just tell me what you want put on it in writing, because my memory's shot.
Marta, did you look this over by chance? The reason I ask is because under item 2, about the middle of the paragraph, starts with the word "these reports." That sounds like an illegal meeting by the way they got it described.
It says, "These reports are to be signed by a majority of members appointed to the committee, commission, and/or board, and are to be circulated to the council members and the mayor at least 48 hours prior to a council meeting at which the report is to be given."
See, the way this is supposed to happen, when you have a meeting and you get the minutes back and you go to your board and your board approves it, it's being approved at a notice meeting, then you're supposed to sign it. Now, what's not happening is at committee meetings, we do not approve these at a meeting, we approve them at the city council.
You accept.
Except.
Right. So actually what's supposed to happen is these are supposed to come back to the committee or the board, for the board to approve the minutes, sign them, and then forward them on to the city council. So it's actually done at a notice meeting.
I agree with that, but it's starting to be circulated, which could well be done prior, which would make it an illegal meeting.
Right, well,
As we know, we changed most of the council out because of one of those.
yes.
So I have a problem with the wordage. The theory is great, the wordage bothers me.
Well, Mr. Hand, I have a problem with the fact that in the last 5 years, the only minutes that have been signed by anyone are the tree board minutes, and they're signed by the chair. This isn't what really happens, and so it's not good policy, because it doesn't really happen. So that's one of those parts where we could actually take that out, because it isn't really happening.
Yes, I asked about that one time, they said, well, once it's approved at the city council, it's the same as signed. I said, okay. Maybe that's not correct, I don't know.
I guess I don't know how to, I don't know how to work that, we've been trained on what is good policy, and we're either gonna write good policy or we're not. You can write things that don't happen and act like, I don't know.
Loggers like it. They just sell more paper that way. But you're right, it's not.
That's an
policy.
amusing answer.
So I think judicial really does need to go back and look at this again, and make sure it conveys what it's supposed to, because it doesn't say anything about how you're going to notice a meeting in here, how it's going to be noticed. It doesn't say we've noticed that.
There wasn't the other ones, it'll come up in the judiciary notes. This is just the committee.
Yeah.
Because that's so many people just calling me up on the phone, are we gonna have a committee meeting? So I just want to, okay, so have the chairs put their committee and let me know if they want to have a meeting.
The problem with that too is that most chairs don't know what's come up,
Yeah.
because we don't see the issues until we have a meeting, and the agenda comes out, and you folks, at the city offices here. So I'm not sure how we can prepare an agenda and cover all the topics that need to be covered.
Okay.
So, will you inform me, please? So when you have a planning board meeting, there is no one from the administration or the staff here at all? there's just your committee. There isn't anyone to take minutes. There isn't a city attorney or a mayor or anyone else here when you have a planning board.
Oh, we're here, Mary.
Yeah. We're getting way off topic. This is just an informational place it can go back to judiciary to discuss all the topics. So, that just was an informational thing might have to work on, so, okay. Back to mayor's report. Resolution of intent of the city council of the city of Dillon to set a hearing date and time for the proposal annexation and zoning of the Hinderosa property.
Move to accept.
Second.
Been moved by Russ Swant and second by Don Hand. Discussion.
Now, Mr. Mayor, this is the parcel out here kind of in the inside of the curve of the railroad tracks.
Yes.
On the north side of
Yep.
town, correct?
Yep.
Does that include the lumberyard of Naps, or just prior to that?
No, it does
I don't
not.
think it includes
It
it.
stops prior to that, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Hazelbaker, that's out of the floodway, isn't it, in the floodplain?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Call for the question?
Okay, question's been called for. All in favor of accepting the resolution of the city council of the city of Dillon to set a hearing date and time for the proposal annexation and zoning of the Hinderosa property, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed with the same sign? Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, citizens' request.
Third request, under request complaint, first line from the bottom, starts with the word dirt, and it says Will Dara Patch. That's Dura Patch with a U, not an A.
Mr. Mayor, just a point of clarification, this comes as, it's under the citizen's request by Sharon Lawyer. She was reporting a dog and it was taken care of, but it says that Jason Erickson was driving the bus, but said he would keep an eye out for the dog. Jason Erickson is hired as a half-time animal control person in half-time parks. Has he now moved to bus also?
In emergencies, they call on him to drive it with, as long as with Nick Hager.
Yeah, every once in a while, the bus drivers have appointments, doctor's appointments, whatever, so we ask Jason to step in and drive. He meets all qualifications. He's not a regular driver, so.
Do we have a half-time substitute driver?
We have two drivers now. We have Mark Hatfield and Ron Gillen. And then also from there, Lee Hazelbaker will drive when we need an emergency. Jason Erickson will step in if needed. Nick Guchek can step in when needed, as well as Nick Hager. And, oh, yeah, sorry, thank you.
Don't forget.
Debbie Pierce, thank you. Two Wills Pierce.
Okay, any other comments on citizens' request? Okay, next one. Confirm Officer Wheatley.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by Russ Swant, seconded by Dan Nye. Confirm Officer Wheatley, a full-time officer. Any questions?
No, I think he should step forward and give us a 15-minute speech.
I just want to say thanks to everyone. It's been a great year. Appreciate what they've done with this department. Getting to know the community and everyone I work with, so really appreciate it.
Chief, do you have anything to say?
He's been an excellent asset to the force, not only him, but all these true professionals standing behind me. These men and women have done an excellent job, so I couldn't be more prouder than the crew that we have.
Call the question?
Call for the question.
Councilperson O'Rourke, call for the question. All in favor of confirming Officer Wheatley as a full-time officer, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, it passes unanimously. Congratulations. Okay. Okay. Don't feel like it does.
Mr. Mayor? Before we proceed with the rest of the meeting, I wonder if we have a couple of people here from the chamber who have pressing matters elsewhere. I wonder if we could move them to the top of the agenda before we go through the committee reports. I make that motion that we move the Chamber of Commerce to the top of the agenda before we go through the committee reports.
They weren't even on the agenda. Heather?
Does that mean you want to move public comment in totality forward?
Yes.
I made a motion. Did you second it?
No, there was clarification, not on the agenda, so it falls underneath public comment.
Right.
So we're moving line item F forward.
Correct. I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear.
So with that line item F, I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, it's been a motion to move public comment up and it's seconded, or by motion by Councilperson O'Rourke and seconded by Councilperson Swan. Any other comments? Okay, question to call for. All in favor of moving public comment to F up to and head of D? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign? Okay, then the public comment moving up, so. Public comment on items of significant public interest, not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the city.
You'll see the button.
Okay,
I'll
can
turn
you
it
hear
red.
me now?
Yeah, right there on top.
Can
Just
you
hold
hear me
it.
now?
Just hold it for a sec. And then it goes red
Okay,
or yellow.
it's yellow.
Okay. It is.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Rebecca Jones. I'm the Executive Director of the Beaverhead Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture. And I'm here tonight, one of the previous meetings, and I don't recall which one, but a question came up, and I don't remember who asked the question, but I heard a question that said, when we were talking about construction in the Idaho Street and downtown with the city streets and the businesses and how can we help the businesses, the question came up, where is the chamber, what is the chamber doing? And a couple of things were added about what the chamber was doing. We did move our Thursdays at the chamber there to Idaho Street. It was a little dusty, but we gave away free hot dogs, chips, and waters to about 100 people there on Idaho Street. It was a free lunch. We also did a lunch and learn about, and where I think Director Hazel Baker came and spoke with the construction company, and we did that probably back in, I think it was March. The other thing that we did was I've been working with Brenda Womack on a kind of a map, and I'm going to pass this out to you all. You have. Pass those around. And this is a map, it's double-sided, and oh, actually it flips like this. And this will have Montana, Idaho, and Washington streets. It's mainly the downtown shopping district that's affected or impacted by the construction. And what I've done was put in the red will be retail stores, the green would be the food and drink establishments, blue would be banks, salons, realties, services, and offices, and purple are hotels or places for overnight stay. And the point here is at the visitor center all summer since the construction began, I've been getting people coming in saying, well, do you even have shopping in Dillon? Because they don't know. I mean, they're stopping and they think it's a charming town. I hear that all the time, but they wondered if we had any shopping. And I'm like, yes, we do. And I try to sell them on the idea of, yeah, don't be dissuaded by the heavy equipment. It's okay, pardon our dust. And, you know, I've heard people say, well, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to go on to Idaho Falls, which just breaks my heart because we have such great things here and they're all open. And it's hard to send somebody and tell them, oh, it's a block this way and a block that, 2 blocks that way. So I came up with this map. Probably about the same time, there was quite a kind of a fever pitch of a lot of, you know, just hearing from the businesses. So when I did run it by Brenda, she's like, whoa, you know, you got to make a lot of changes. That's fine. I'm not married to the map. We can make changes, no problem. So that's what we did. It took us about 5 versions, and the final version is what you see here. So we have, Brenda was terrific. She laminated these. She paid for the color copies because, you know, ink is expensive for the chamber. And so she paid for all of this, and the laminated copies went to the hotels and the campgrounds in town because I wanted to make sure that they had them. And the idea, as I shared to them, is have your campers or your people snap a picture with their cell phone. There's no reason to have 100, 500 copies of these things around when people just can snap pictures and then they have that copy for themselves. So that's what the chamber has done to try to, I'm not saying it's gonna fix all, because it certainly won't, but it at least will help me in the visitor center to point on a map to people. I have Dillon maps in the visitor center. That's not the question. The question is, what are they missing on Idaho Street? What are they missing in the construction zone? So I want to be able to point to, you know, the 406 Emporium and sell the 406 Emporium on somebody that you know, don't leave town until you drop by his store. Don't leave town until you get something at Sweetwater Coffee. You know, don't leave town until you stop at African Oasis. And I can sell that if I have a map and I can point to it and where it is. So I wanted to share that with you. I hope that's helpful. The second thing that I want to share is in some of the meetings that I've gone to this spring at the state level with tourism, I'm hearing all about Butte and Livingston and Darby and all these other towns and the hundreds of thousands of dollars their economies are experiencing with film. Movies are being made. Yellowstone has been a boon for this state, and they don't just buy hot dogs and beer and wine and things like that. I mean, these movie companies are buying plywood, they're buying paint, they're buying fencing, they're buying wire, they're buying tools. I mean, because they have to create stuff for these movies. And I know Butte is making a killing right now with the films that they have there. Now, I'm not saying we need to become Jackson Hole, Wyoming. That's not what I'm saying. But I think if we could just at least open the conversation at some point with some, you know, having a film permit might be a nice start, a nice open door. So I'm going to pass this out, and then I'll explain it. Pass that. And you can see on this form, it says draft. I'm not married to this form at all. And it's a little, not really what I kind of originally anticipated to do. What I did was I went to Butte and I asked them for their film permit, and when they sent it to me, they said, oh yeah, sure, it's the city and the county, because that's what Butte Silverbow is. So I was like, well, here's an idea. I mean, what if the city and the county, I mean, do y'all need the same thing? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. So it's just a draft and we can change it and we can split them out. And I'm gonna be presenting this to the county commissioners on Monday when I go to their meeting and present. But I thought it would be just a nice open door. I would be happy to put it on the chamber website. We have a site selection page on our chamber website already for any businesses who want to come to our town. It would be very easy for me to put this form on our website so that it would at least open the door. And because what happens, as I understand, is that these studios, film companies from all over the country, they have interns who just do nothing but Google film permit, Montana, film permit, right, Butte comes up right off the bat. We don't come up at all when you do that. So if we could at least have a film permit on our city website, my chamber website, even our county website, that might get us a few conversations started. And maybe not every deal will be something you all want to do, but it would at least be up to you. It would be up to you, and you would have kind of a process started. Now, I know there's a long process of getting this type of thing approved by the city, so I welcome that, and I hope that, you know, we can all work together to kind of go in the same direction. When I hear that Butte is getting literally millions of dollars from the film industry, just that one industry, and I'm thinking, I'm looking around at the wonderful resources we have in our town and in our county, and boy, what a great revenue income stream that could perhaps be, even if it's just one or two things a year. Not a lot, just open the door, have the conversation, and see if we can't bring a little more money into our area, because all of that is going to do nothing but help our businesses. Any questions that I can answer?
Miss Rebecca, do you happen to have this in a...
PDF?
Yes, ma'am. And do you have it in a ledger? Is it possible to simply distribute these amongst the downtown merchants and anyone else that may want them for their orders?
I thought
rather than doing back-to-back?
Oh, yeah, I have it actually in a 8.5 by 14.
Awesome, okay.
And in two separate pieces of paper, and I have it at the chamber office. You can see my little copier is having a little hard day here.
Yes.
So what we can do is Brenda has them as well, and we can have them printed from Brenda if that's okay, or you can pay to have them print. She was going to put them out in the Dillon. Have you all seen this in the Dillon? You have seen it in the Dillonite? Okay. Because she was going to put it in the Dillonite distribution. Basically one per stop, so that that business could put it in their window or what have you. But if you'd like more, I'll be happy to send anybody the digital version. Just send me an email. And my email's, well, give me a call. I thought it was at the bottom.
Mr. Mayor, I think this, the idea of a film permit is such an intriguing idea. Would it be appropriate to...
Right now, this is public comment. We can't be making decisions with things that handed out to us at the meeting.
I wasn't asking you to make a decision.
Okay. But we're really not even supposed to be discussing things. It's public comment is they present stuff to us, and if they want to get on the agenda so we can discuss stuff from there, unless you have clarifying questions for it.
So Mr. Swamp can ask a question?
He asked a clarifying question, do you have this on something else? He didn't ask other questions. If we could do a film permit. Do you have questions? Do you have any clarifying questions on this?
My clarifying question is it appropriate for this to be referred to the judiciary?
It probably could be. Will the judiciary chairman can look at it because he has a copy of it, put it on his agenda.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments of items of significant public interest not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the city?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Ron Carroll. I own Emporium 406 at 34 North Idaho. Our block of Idaho Street has now been closed for nearly 12 consecutive weeks. I'd like to address two issues this evening that I've addressed previously. I'd like to bring them up again, and I'll bring them up again and again. The first is I'm very concerned about safety issues along Idaho Street. So who's ever got the ear of either the engineer company, Dow Inc., or Mungus Construction, please let them know this. There is no safety fence along Idaho Street. One of my customers steps off of the edge of that sidewalk, or any of the customers along the 2 blocks here on Idaho Street, they're looking at about a 12 to 18 inch drop off. In some areas, they're going to go down about 6 to 8 feet. So if you've been up and down the street, you probably know what I'm talking about. I can't for the life of me imagine why there's not some type of barrier along the sidewalk. When I asked why there was barriers at each end of the street, for the last 12 weeks I've been told that it is an industry standard. I find it hard to believe that this is not an industry standard. So please get that fixed. I don't want to see any of our citizens or any of the visitors to our community take a header. I mean, it's going to happen. The second is, as I quoted previously, I still believe that Mungus Construction and Dow Inc. is operating outside of the scope of the contract that was signed in March of 2021, and I hope that you are all considering assessing fines and penalties for the amount of time that this is taking. We are now in our peak tourism season. My projection is that I'm now down 68% of where I should be. I'd like to leave it on a positive note. I'd like to thank Rebecca Jones of the Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture here. Just as Stage Line Pizza did 2 weeks prior to that, Rebecca changed the location of her Lunch and Learn to have them all meet on Idaho Street, knowing that it would pull people down to our block. So thank you for doing that. Jolene Schultz is here with us tonight. She was also a part of that. They had their intern there. And several of the chamber members did stop into my store that day. We all got something to eat. And I know that I recorded sales that day that I would not have otherwise recorded, more than likely. So I just wanted to publicly thank you very much. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Beth Sullivan. I manage the Patagonia outlet at 16 South Idaho. I was here a couple weeks ago with a concern, and I'd like to just formally request, we need someone as shop owners or managers that is responsible, that is in the city. Because, like, for example, today, the water was turned off twice. I was never told. So, I go out to see what's going on. Everyone is running around frantic because they once again hit a pipe, which I don't envy their job at all. And I feel bad for them when it happens, but we don't have anyone to turn to. I went and I looked for the Dow, foreman, I guess, would you call it? And he wasn't around. There's nobody I could talk to. And so I came all the way up in here, all the way back, but I just feel like that there needs to be an official person that is in charge of this. This is, like Ron was saying, this is our holiday season. This is the height of our tourism and the height of our money making, and we're sabotaging it. But I think it's only fair that we have someone to go to that is from the city, that we can ask questions, know that they're getting relayed to the construction workers, but respectfully, Mayor, you had said, you know, I just was hired into this after the fact. And it's true that you do, but this is your responsibility now. And I don't feel like as business owners / managers that we have any help. We don't have anyone to go to. And I'd like to throw that out and see if you guys have any ideas. Diane, thank you so much. You've done a great job getting the word out, but sometimes it's like, we need it on the spot. And I know that that's not somebody's job, but maybe we, as a city, we're putting so much money into this. What's it, you know, maybe get an intern, maybe get, you know, a runner that can just run that. And Todd, thanks so much for, we started getting the emails, and that's super helpful. I post them from all my staff to see, so when people come in and ask what's going on with your city, we can tell them, this is where we are.
One thing that I would encourage you to do when these things happen, at the bottom of the emails is Kip Shumway's telephone number. Call him immediately, because he should be, like today, he would have been out in front of your street.
He wasn't.
Oh, he wasn't, but I know he was in town working today.
But there was a pretty big huddle.
So yeah, call that number immediately, or call me.
Yeah, I think that there needs to be a liaison between the two. I mean, we shouldn't be out there, like, just second what Ron had said, is with the big forklift, it's coming across the sidewalk. And so I'm watching my customers do this when they're walking by. And there's debris in there, and I think we're just setting up ourselves for huge liability.
I'll reach out to Kip tonight after this meeting.
About
and
that
see if we can get
concern?
that, see if we can get that taken care of first thing in the morning.
Yeah, but if there was someone, you know, and they aren't working weekends, so that works out perfect, so, because the city doesn't work during the weekends either, so. So I'd like to throw that out there as a request that we could get a liaison from the city that we can call, or we can run down here and say, hey, this is what's going on. And we're concerned for our customers, and we're concerned for our workers. I watch all day that people walk across the street when that big forklift's going I'm pretty sure you need to have a helmet on. And that they're like, yeah, go ahead. And they're hopping off the big, thick, or steep sidewalk, and I'm like, oh no, it's not good. And so, that's my request, please consider it.
And I'll send out another email tomorrow morning, and I'll give you my email, or but you have my email address, but my cell phone number, so you can call me to all the businesses, that my number.
Okay, great.
I'm Sarah Switzer, I live at 335 South Wright. I own a business down in the next block, Sweetwater Coffee. I know that these things have to be done. It happens everywhere. It's frustrating. It's infuriating that they are working 4 days a week when the rest of us are working 50 plus hours a week to keep our businesses afloat and to do the best we can during the summer season, as Beth says, when we are able to make the most money. I also find it incredibly frustrating that when they hit something and they come in and let us know that they're immediately shutting the water off, things happen, that I have potentially 40 or 50 customers that now have zero access to a restroom. I'm requesting that somebody put a porta potty on our block, please. I'm also requesting that you come down and get the trash out of the bins that didn't get picked up before the street project started, because the birds are starting to scatter it now. I am requesting that if somebody thinks that they might hit something and they might shut the water off in the next 30 minutes, that they actually come in and tell me that they have shut the water off, so that my $5,000 dishwasher, my $15,000 espresso machine, and my $1,200 ice maker do not all of a sudden come up dry. I need somebody to take a little bit more responsibility for the conversation between what they're doing on the street and the fact that I have, 15 people in line for something, and all of a sudden, there's nothing going on. So it's just, you know, it's courtesy that if you're working on the street and something happens, that they can come into your business and say, oh, I'm so sorry. Things happen, I know that, but I can't have them say, maybe we're gonna shut your water off in 30 minutes, and then they don't actually come back and say that they have. So things are still running, I'm still using stuff that's pulling water, and there's no access to water.
Okay, then we'll go on. It don't look like any other public comments. So we'll start back at the report of officers and boards of the city. The library board, Diane Armstrong.
Okay, we did have a meeting last week. We don't have the minutes yet, but, so they'll be in the next packet. But the library board did approve the MOU and the changes to it. But that will be, like I said, with the next meeting. So Lori is looking for anybody that wants to volunteer a barbecue to her to use. Because she's got the end of the summer program, I think, coming up, that she's hoping to get some barbecuers, or she's wanting the kids to be able to do some cooking. So if anybody has a barbecue that they would be willing to loan her, she would pick it up and return it. Other than that, everything will be in the next meeting. Or in the next packet, rather.
Okay. The attorney, Marta Farmer.
So we are still, we've heard that there's an offer in the works, I think, from the county. It's all in that case, still waiting to hear back from the attorneys on that. So obviously you'll hear about that as soon as we get an offer. We have a draft agreement regarding an issue that we've been dealing with at the planning board for some time on Tully Springs that I think is on the agenda for tomorrow night. So there hopefully will start to be some movement on the Tully Springs issue that we've been discussing, or it's been in discussion for several years, from what I heard. Aside from that, I'm hoping that eventually or soon we'll get some movement on getting Microsoft 365. Just FYI, my computer is currently crashing and I lost all emails from today. New emails they disappeared on me. So if I don't get my new machine up and running, I will not have access to email. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So I've been trying for several months to get 365 to use the new machines. So if we can do something to speed that along, it would be really nice to have access to my email. Aside from that, any questions?
Marta, do you need the software, or
Yes.
do you need the installation of the software?
The software. It's a subscription. So why don't we have it? Because it wasn't approved in the ARPA meeting. Oh, that's part of the ARPA meeting. And when the machines were selected, Nikki stated that, you know, we were getting the Surface Pros for others, so that's why I went along with the Surface Pro, not thinking that software would be an issue. But we keep running into barriers getting the approval to get the subscription.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't we going to approve the 365 regardless of whether or not we got, I thought the 365 was going to be approved and then we were going to send it to ARPA and hope that ARPA would pay for it, but I thought the 365 was approved. It was just a debate on whether it was coming out of the general fund or the ARPA fund. Maybe I misunderstood what was going on when we talked about that.
I just know the last I heard it had been tabled, so. Mr. Mayor, I think we just need to
go back a couple minutes, I think it was just 3 months ago, and you came to us and asked for the new computer. You said you needed 365, and it was approved.
The 365 was not.
Office 365 was going to be a bundle for like 25, $5,500 a year, was it? Yes. I think a year.
For 25 people.
For 25 computers, and then it kind of got tabled.
That's
That
great.
was one of ours.
Yeah, I guess I was going to approve it
That was
for the city, the government, or whether it was a 25 use person or a 10 use person.
Yeah. How many of the city's computers can run 365? That's the question.
It sounds like you can buy, because Debbie said you can buy one service at a time, or Nick told me you have to buy bundles of 5, so.
Because I know one of my computers will use it, one of them crashes and I'm trying to open. So I want to make sure we have enough operating system to run it.
So we might just order enough for the law office to get going and add to it if we need to.
Now, we buy ours in a bundle of 3, and we only hit, but my computer that I use at home is more than 5 years old, and it runs 365 beautifully. Well, it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, well, I'll talk with Marta tomorrow and we'll figure out how to get something ordered somewhere. Okay. Any other questions for attorney? Okay, then the planning board, Donna Ann or Dan Nye.
In your packet, you have the meeting minutes from April 27th. Ask your acceptance.
Move to accept.
Second. Been moved by Diane, seconded by Dan to accept the minutes of the planning board.
For those of you who read through without going to sleep, down the 4th sentence up from the bottom, the sentence starts with, "and there are bigger issues." Further in the line, it says Jackie Erfel responded. Jackie Erfel does not serve on the planning board. So I'm not sure who that's supposed to be. And then on the second page, second from the last sentence, it started next meeting, and Jackie seconded the motion. Jackie was busy that night. I'm just gonna know who Jackie is. I'm assuming it's Vicky, yeah. I would like to point out those corrections.
So Jackie's in here a couple of times.
Yes, and she shouldn't be.
Call for the question.
Okay, question's been called for to accept the planning board minutes as amended with Vicky replacing Jackie. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign?
Aye.
Okay. 7-1. Pat, accepted.
That completes my report.
It was me. You can't correct the board's minutes. Only a
Oh.
board can approve their own minutes and submit them for acceptance. Just point
Just technical. Okay.
Yeah, just technical. It's just me.
Okay, thank you, Russ. Zoning Commission, Raymond Graham, Russ Swan. Which one wants to go?
Your turn, honey.
Okay, before you will find our minutes from June 14th and May 24th. I ask for your approval.
Move to accept.
It's been moved by Dan, seconded by Diane to accept the minutes of the zoning commission. Any comments on them?
Yes, all for the question.
Okay, questions have been called for to accept the minutes of the zoning commission for May 24th and June 14th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, Steve, you've been happily zoning along.
Motion's accepted, passed unanimously.
I don't know if you have any questions. We had a couple of hearings. There's some stuff that we're going to be sending forward to the council in a couple of weeks and we get to have. But other than that, things are moving along.
I noticed there's a number of fence violations in town. Nothing seems to be occurring on those. Can you shed any light on that? As to height and such?
We don't oversee fencing, that's director of operations. I didn't know you were addressing some of the.
Yeah, there's one in particular on Glendale I'm addressing. I'm not aware of any others. Just let me know. Which is interesting. Had 3 fence permits. People come in today asking for fence permits, 3 of them.
Any other questions for our zoning commission?
Okay, my report then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now on to our director of operations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Summer projects going on. We have the Jura Patcher and guys are working on that. We have the summer crew doing some striping around town, but we'll get downtown on 10th Street soon. Splash pad is finally open. And with that, we encourage the community to use caution when you're in that area, just because construction still continues with the boulevards. So, as I've been going, and then I mentioned the bus drivers, Mark Hatfield and Ron Ginley. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
How many street closures did you have over the 4th of July? And how many are still closed?
So now I think one, the Johnson family on Colorado Street. That's where a family reunion closed the street. They got approved from all those neighbors. Street closers over 4th would have just been Farmers Market this Saturday. Would have been the only.
Yeah, the Johnson family, how long is that supposed to be closed for?
I'd have to look. I think it was roughly a week. I think.
A week?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
But again,
I think it's today that stands out.
yeah, the neighbors signed off on the application.
And they're a dead-end street. They're at a dead end.
No, we're not.
No, it's
No,
not.
So people can drive in front of their home.
Right, right.
So that's not a dead-end street.
Thank you.
Mr. Hazelbecker, any update on the JC Park?
I tried to build that one today. They put in some of the foundation for the sod. Hope to get that done possibly in the next couple of weeks. Get that in. Again, encourage the city to pay, citizens to pay attention to that, try to keep off of that. The sod, well, even now, the sod's laid. Stay off of that. Hopefully Monday, they're going to finish up the sign entrance into town on the end of Swenson. So there's a chance that, well, it will be closed. Swenson will be closed while they get that taken care of. And I hope to do that Monday, but Bill's going to let me know specifically so I can get that out on the radio, newspapers.
Will that sidewalk ceiling on the JC Park make that sidewalk subgrade?
That I do not know.
I can see over on the splash pad, that might be highly unwelcome. So That's why I was asking.
The blue, well, yeah, they put the seal on the blue paint.
Yeah, there's
The
no
blue
blue
part.
part.
Well, I thought they're sealing all of the sidewalks. They shut down the Allen in totality. When he's installing sprinklers and turning sprinklers on down there. Because they didn't want any water on any sidewalks.
Newer sidewalks, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what I understood was all of the sidewalks.
I believe it's just newer because the approach going into the splash pad is not going to be touched.
No.
Very good, thank you.
Is there anything being done about the boulevard on
Yep.
the Beaverhead?
Mr. Tucker has been contacted. Several times.
Mr. Hazelbaker, about, I think, 6 weeks ago, Tim Egan sent you an Excel file, and then I brought it in maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And it lists out all the trees that the tree board has planted on public property that needs to be, that those are the trees that the city needs to water. I understand our regular watering person has left the employee of the city. Is anybody watering those trees?
There's a gentleman that's very interested in doing that. Mr. Reagan did provide me that list a couple weeks ago. I never received your email.
It wasn't my email, I brought it in and put it on your desk.
Oh, the only one I ever saw was the one from Mr. Reagan. So, a couple weeks ago. So with that, yeah, if there's somebody that's interested, I visited with Tim yesterday about it, and we'll have something to do with it. Hopefully by the end of this week, and definitely the first part of next week.
So that'll be the first that our trees have been watered at the end of July.
Approximately, yes, but Mr. Reagan did not feel concerned with the amount of water we've received over the summer. He's concerned basically now moving forward with the amount of moisture.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Our Director? Okay.
Thank you.
Move on to the police department. Chief Jeremy Alvarez.
Mr. Mayor, I have two reports that appear to be incomplete. In the duty to try to save paper, the backside was printed, but it appears that they were not in there. So I asked for them not to be approved. They appear to be incomplete to me.
Am I correct, Chief, that the single page is the June report?
Correct, and then on the back page would have had the total number of calls with the rest of the incidents that we responded to. We responded to 331 that month in June. But unfortunately, the back page didn't get attached. And then you're absolutely correct. That's the June report for 2020. And then the second report would be January 1 all the way through June of 2020. You can see the total number of incidents is 1,670, but there's a 1 or 2 pages missing in between. I would guess 1.
And we know that you actually meant 2022.
2022. Thank you. I'll resubmit them for next meeting.
It'd be fun to find missing pages.
So, Mr. Mayor, I move to table the police department activity reports for June and for year-to-date 2022.
Second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to table the activity reports for the police department. 2 of them for June and the year-to-date one. Questions, comments?
And that full motion is I move to table until the next meeting, the activity reports.
Go for
questions.
Okay, question's been called for to table the activity reports for the police department until next meeting. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, same sign? Okay. Reports are tabled. Okay, next up, fire department. DJ Cosi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In respect of everyone's time, I have nothing for you all tonight. Any questions?
Did you guys have to go up and put out the tire fire?
At the dump?
Did you figure out what caused it?
Well, there could be a few things, and dump fires are terrible. Telling what started the dump fire is, it could be as something like a 9-volt battery sitting against some dry debris. So, anything shorting out, or I wouldn't think there was anybody's wood stove ashes or anything like that, so. We have them a couple times a year.
It was interesting, you took off at what, midnight?
Yeah, it was right exactly at midnight. And I'm not gonna say that's what time it took off, that's what time it was reported. People from out on the flats out there can see it fairly well from by the subdivision on the other side of 278, and they're really calling in. And they look really, really good from over there.
You selling just early 4th of July? With lots of smoke?
Exactly.
Thank you.
You bet. Any other questions for me? Thank you.
Okay, moving on, our city court. Judge is not here tonight, no report. Treasurer, Karen Kipp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I guess I need to apologize to you because when I got my packet, I didn't notice that this said all these reports are from June, when actually they are May's reports. So I guess that's your choice. Do you want to include May's cash reconciliation reports, cash settlement report, and the Stockton Bank collateral report that are included in your packet?
Move to accept with the correction that they're made and not June.
Thank you.
Second.
And it's been moved by Councilman Hand and seconded by Councilperson Armstrong to accept the Treasurer's report for the cash summary for May, bank reconciliation report for May of 2022, and the Stockman Bank collateral report for May instead of June.
Call for the question.
Okay. Question's been called for to accept or approve the cash summary report for May of 2022, approve the cash bank reconciliation report for May of 2022, and the Stockman Bank collateral report for May. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Okay, the May reports have been accepted unanimously. Okay, tree board, Councilperson O'Rourke.
No meeting, no report.
Okay, reports of the standing committees of the city council. The Judiciary Committee, Dan Nye.
Before you, you have the June 21st meeting minutes. Ask for your acceptance.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Councilperson Swan and second by Councilperson Armstrong to accept the committee meeting minutes of the Judiciary Committee. Any comments, questions, corrections?
Just had one question on number 3. It says that moves not to make any changes. Now, is that a negative?
Yes, sir.
So we reword that?
Yeah.
I thought we had changed it to where it was a positive.
I thought we did too.
I think.
I don't remember.
I mean, I do remember that. And you did change that.
And I don't remember what I changed it to.
I think you just moved to accept the council rules and procedures as presented. I mean, it was just to make it an affirmative motion.
Right. Well, I read that and I'm sitting there, I thought we changed that.
You did, you did.
That's the only thing I have.
Call for the question.
Okay, questions been called for to accept the judiciary minutes as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, minutes been accepted unanimously.
If you notice on item number 4, take the standard operating procedure to the city council, and the ones that should have been in the packet, not, and what that is, actually, we have a standard operating procedure that says that we will do our posting in 2 places, and it lays out where it is, but it was never voted on by the council. It was actually just signed by the mayor and director of operations. And I said, we gotta take it to the council, make the council vote to accept it. But it didn't make it to the packet, so maybe the next meeting we can get that in the packet.
Okay, finance committee. Don Hand.
All right, before you have a copy of our minutes, as well as the reports that we went through and looked over and a number of different angles. I believe these are all for June, and not for May. I ask for your acceptance, which is the line item budget, the fund summary, the claims by vendor, and the budget versus actual report.
Move to accept.
Second.
Been moved by Councilperson Graham, seconded by Councilperson Swank to accept the approval line item budget report for, is it May? June, yep, June 2022. Approval of the fund summary as for claims for June 2022. Approve claims by vendor report for June 2022 and approve the budget versus actual report for June 2022. As long as the minutes for the June 29th meeting. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, the same sign. Okay, minutes been accepted unanimously.
All right, the thing that's, council needs to be aware of is that the budget's coming up. It's going to be an interesting season. One of the things that we need to know is how much reserves you're comfortable with us having or not having. In the past, we've had a fairly nice cushion. It appears that cushion has disappeared now. So we'll need you to respond back to us as to how much of a cushion you want us to have in the next budget.
What is the cushion that is required by law?
$1.
Oh, it's just one, I thought it,
You cannot be in the negative. There is no law on reserves. But ideally, they like to see.
ideally, we should be spending all our money every year, I agree. But that doesn't work if you're trying to save up like for a fire engine, for example. So that's part of why you have some reserves, but mainly the general fund reserve that we take nips out of all the time. You know, that's the one that's the most concerning, because that's the one we have the most control over, but it's the one with the least money in it. So please look over your financial things from last year and what the report showed this time, and get back to any of the members of the finance committee with what you think would be an appropriate amount of reserves, 5%, 20%, 100%, whatever. You get us that number if you would, please. And that completes my report.
Okay, our Fire and Order Committee, George Johnston.
No meeting, no report.
Health and Welfare Committee, Diane Armstrong.
No meeting, no report.
Cemetery Committee, Joe Brandon.
No meeting, no report.
Parks Committee, Mary Jo O'Rourke.
We tried to meet, but there was a minor thing on the agenda. We left out City Hall as the place where we would meet. So that meeting was, one of the members of our committee defined it as an illegal meeting, so we did not meet, which brings up the topic. We have now taken 7 minor mistakes on this agenda and gone ahead and dealt with those reports. So if there is a minor addition, or say that this is the June report when it's actually the May report, or we forget to put down City Hall as a place where we meet. I think that most people know that that's where we meet, is City Hall. That we can go ahead and meet. There were probably 8 people who had prepared for that meeting and who were ready to present to that committee. And that meeting was canceled 30 seconds before 4 o'clock. It was embarrassing for me as a city council person to have to call those vendors and say that because the words city council were not listed on the agenda.
City Hall, I believe you mean, don't you?
Huh?
City Hall, I believe you mean, not City Council.
I mean City Hall, right. I think it was a minor mistake, just as these have been minor mistakes. And we've gone ahead and dealt with those. So is it going to be kind of a operational policy that when there's a minor mistake on the agenda, that we can go ahead and go ahead and meet?
Madam Attorney, would you be so kind as to respond? I think that would be the safest.
I don't think that leaving off the location of a meeting is a minor mistake, and I don't think it's right to compare it to other items that can be tabled because everybody knows where we are. So, I mean, the location isn't a minor mistake. That's kind of a pivotal point to have in an announcement as to where people are supposed to go.
So I guess the answer to your question is, if it is indeed a minor thing, you can probably correct it and go on. But just make sure it's a minor thing you're correcting, that everybody thinks it's a minor thing. And that's going to be really hard to do.
I guess I not know the Parks Committee to meet anywhere else except City Hall.
I recall you had a special meeting down at J.C. Park one time. Took the bus down there and rode around.
We met here and then we went on a bus trip, but we met here.
That was all stated on the agenda.
It's not about you knowing where the meeting is, Mary Jo. It's about the public knowing where the meeting is. That's it. There's no more discussion on it. The location needs to be on the notice.
Great.
Finish your report. Okay, City Hall Committee, Raymond Graham.
No meeting, no report.
Street and Alley Committee, Dan Nye.
No meeting, no report. We have one coming up.
Yeah, next week, I suppose. Get with you. Water and Sewer Committee, Don Hand.
No meeting, no report.
Yours coming up next week too.
Yeah.
ARPA Committee,
No meeting, no report, end of the month meeting.
Okay, that completes our,
Move to adjourn.
been moved,
Second.
been moved by Raymond, seconded by Don to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Adjourned. Carried.